All right, welcome everybody to Studio B. I am your host, Pastor MDH. Thank you for joining us here on the set today. Remember, wherever you are watching us from, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it may be, like, follow, comment, subscribe. Get all into them comments. Let me know how we're doing. Let me know what we're doing here on the set is benefiting you and yours. Remember, right here at the bottom of the YouTube page, there is a Patreon link. Get in there and support us on whatever type of level that the Lord lays upon your heart, and you will get exclusive content to materials that is otherwise not privileged to others. So today, last week, you saw me with a football talking about my main man, Deion Prime Sanders, and all that is going on at Jackson State and Colorado, the University of Colorado, and all the things that have come out since then. Of why this man not made a strategic move, but the best move that he could possibly make. But then his brothers, people that share the same pigmentation as me, riled against his brother and called him everything but a child of God, saying that he walked away from an HBCU and left it struggling. I will not visit any time there. If you want to watch that video, there's a link up here. You can go back and check out what I said about Mr. Deion Sanders. But again, I will tell you publicly, we stand in support of you, Prime Time, and you did a great job in the season that God had you at Jackson State. But today, news just broke. Mid last week about the release of Brittney Griner from a Russian prison. And I got a lot to say about this. Got a lot to say about it. Maybe some things that are not going to be well received, but I'm just saying it because I think it needs to be said. Brittney Griner, who spent almost 10 months in a Russian prison because she thought it necessary to take cannabis oil and cross the borders of Russia, to which she got apprehended and thrown into a Russian prison. The social justice warriors on the side in America went crazy. It's just weed. It's just this. It's just that. And they started yelling from the rooftops about racism, and because she's black, this would have never happened to this, that, and the other, and all of this other foolishness that everybody was talking about. But now, after 10 months, our illustrious president, President Joseph R. Biden, traded Brittney Griner for Viktor Bout. Now, let me just tell you something about this guy, Viktor Bout. Because I want you to know that our U.S. government, the people in charge of the government at the highest levels, sat around in a room amongst people who are supposed to be smarter than you and I, with people that are supposed to have a firm grasp on things that are not only going on in this nation, but around the world. Talk to people who are supposed to be skilled in their particular positions. And they sat around a room, and after going through this person, that person, this person and that person, this person and that person, they all came to a unilateral concession that this was a good idea, that we're going to trade an arms dealer that is in U.S. custody for a WNBA basketball player. So let me tell you something about Viktor Bout. This man that was apprehended in 2008 in Thailand. Viktor Bout has the name Merchant of Death. That's his nickname. Let me read you a couple of things about this guy. He is a Russian's arms dealer, a weapons manufacturer, and former Soviet military translator. He used multiple companies to smuggle arms from Eastern Europe to Africa and the Middle East during the 1990s and early 2000s. Now, I'm gonna say something about the Africa portion later, but that's very, very important. Again, to my social justice warriors who love black people, but gained the nickname the Merchant of Death or the Sanctions Buster after British Prime Minister Peter Hand read a report to the United Nations in 2003 about Bout's wide-reaching operations, extensive clientele, and willingness to bypass embargoes. This man was so cunning. He got convicted in 2008 in America for plotting to kill Americans, well, actually killing America, but then plotting to kill other Americans. He is a terrorist. He is a terrorist. This man directly supplied to the civil war in Liberia, which is a black country in Africa, over 50,000 AK-47s. He literally and single-handedly supplied the Liberian people in Africa with over 50,000 AK-47s in their civil war. This man is directly responsible for thousands upon thousands of black Africans losing their lives. The same man right now in Africa that is being tried for war crimes, this man funded his war efforts to kill his own people. This guy, Viktor Bout, is one of the most craziest men that you'll ever see in your life. And the United States of America thought that it was a good idea to trade a terrorist who has killed Americans and wants to kill more Americans for a WNBA player. Now, y'all just help me out. Y'all tell me how, in any way, shape, or form, that makes sense. I'm sorry, Mr. Biden, you still ain't getting the black vote no more. That is absolutely insane and makes no sense whatsoever. But let me tell you why. It is because Brittney Griner is a part of a community that is increasing in their power and influence called the LGBTQ. If she had not been an LGBTQ person, she would have never been released from prison. Now watch this. Biden chose to leave an ex-Marine in prison who's still in Russia, who the Russians are saying they caught from spying on Russia. So Biden said, I'm gonna leave the ex-Marine there and I'm gonna bring home the WNBA gay player Brittney Griner. Now, why did they do that, people? Because they understand the base that Griner represents. Four groups particularly. The celebrity group, who you know most of them are crazy. All of those who are claiming social status and love for this and love for that and looking out of the ivory doors of their ivory castle and looking down on everybody else, us commoners, those celebrities that pick up causes like paper, those celebrities, that's one group. The second group is black people, okay, because Brittney Griner is black. The third people, and the most influential of this group, is the LGBT. So what in essence is Biden doing? He's just trying to shore up his presidential bid as he goes against Trump in 2024. Now, what are we doing here? And then the fourth base, of course, is women. So when this news broke that the United States government traded a terrorist for a basketball player. When this news broke, I want to say that it surprised me, but it didn't. Because we're getting to a place to where this country is going to be unrecognizable. I said right over there on our other set and said many times before that within 50 to 100 years, it is not out of the realm of possibility that America will be subservient to another nation. And I mean controlled, dominated, occupied by another nation. It is completely within the realm of possibility that we are going at warp speed, that this nation, this country, will not be recognizable in 50 to 100 years. That doesn't bother me necessarily from a place of being 50 years old, because I ain't going to be here in 100 years. But my kids and my kids' kids and their kids' kids are going to have to live through the foolishness that these so-called adults and smart people are putting people through right now. We traded a terrorist for a basketball player, and nobody got up in arms about it. So here it is now. Brittney Griner jumps off of a plane, Viktor Bout is going this way, Brittney Griner is going that way. They stop and exchange pleasantries, and then they're off to their respective countries. Waiting back at the White House is Brittney Griner's wife with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Now, before y'all jump all off, the 50th floor, Brittney Griner played in Russia as a side hustle for the last 8 years. Brittney Griner absolutely understood the laws of the land by which she was entering. She tried to circumvent them laws and got caught. And this ain't about, man, that's just weed, man, it's just cannabis oil. It ain't got nothing to do with that. That happened on foreign soil, and their government and their laws are not like ours. But she knew that because she'd been over there 8 years prior and paid her a very healthy ransom to go over there and do the things that she did. But now here we are. We have now traded this man. Now watch what Viktor Bout said in an interview with Rutgers. He applauded Vladimir Putin for his invasion of Ukraine and said that he would be honored to get on the front lines and fight in Ukraine on behalf of Russia. The same Ukraine that America has sent billions and billions in weapons to save their country. The man that we just let out of prison that is supposed to be serving a 25 to 30-year sentence that only served 11, that guy has pledged his allegiance to go back to Ukraine and fight on behalf of Russia. But then at the same time, you have Biden and his administration fighting against gun control in America. But yet you let go of an arms dealer. Dude that is giving out hundreds of thousands of AK-47s and AR-15s and handguns to people around the world for mass genocide. Viktor Bout has an air fleet of over 60 commercial planes. 60. He was so good at what he did that they say that he could drop with pinpoint accuracy anywhere in the world loads of weapons while still flying high in the sky. We voluntarily let that man go. The American government let that man go for a basketball player. Does that mean that Brittney Griner's life doesn't matter? Of course not. No, I'm not saying that at all, everybody. And you know I'm not. You know I'm not. But think about the countless. Now watch this. If you think this is crazy, right now we have 42,000 Americans that are in prison and or in jail for marijuana. 42,000 right now in the American penal system for the same charge of marijuana. But yet we want to go out of our way to make an international trade for an arms dealer and a basketball player because she got caught with weed. Well, Mr. Biden, there are 42,000 other people here in America on charges of weed. You need to let them go too. Hello, somebody. You need to let 42,000 people that are in prison and or in jail for marijuana charges, you need to let them go. Because if you go all the way to Russia and bring back Brittney Griner because she was in prison for marijuana, why not let the Americans in America go because they got the exact same charge? If marijuana is not such a big deal, then get them out of prison. The same thing that you did with Brittney Griner. But you know why you're not going to do that? Because those 42,000 other people that are in prison for marijuana serve no political purpose for you. They don't serve a particular voting group. But you knew that if I get Brittney Griner out, I got the LGBT in my pocket. I got black celebrities in my pocket. I got black people in my pocket because y'all gonna look at me and say, look at what I did for y'all. Man, this is absolute craziness. This is absolute foolishness. You let a man that murdered people, took family members away, funded a genocide against the African people, funded it, sent them to arms, to which countless thousands upon thousands of African men and women lost their lives by the hand of Viktor Bout. And we, America, let that man walk out the door. For basketball, for LGBT, Why? Because everybody, you're going to soon understand. You're going to soon understand. This is not me crying wolf. You're going to soon understand that you're being replaced. Your needs don't mean nothing. All of this stuff that goes on with us, we are the most gullible people on the planet. The most gullible people on the planet. We don't read behind the lines. We look at all this stuff that is going on. We'll find some way to complain about it. But the stuff that is actually harming our communities, we don't say nothing about that. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole, the 42,000 people that are in jail right now, jail and or prison because of marijuana charges. 86% of those are black. I could easily attach that to the man that signed the 1994 crime bill that sent hundreds of thousands of black men to prison for crack, but let the same people who were selling cocaine go free. I mean, but we don't want to go down that line because that's a conversation that many of y'all don't want to have. Basketball was so important, Brittney Griner was so important that we traded a terrorist for. Now you tell me, what has Brittney Griner given to society that makes her worthy of such a trade? On for another day. Basketball. Free BG, that's what everybody was saying. Well, she's free now. Let's see what she does with that newfound freedom. Hopefully, as she was sitting in that jail cell and reminiscing over her life, that she had some good conversations with God and promised God some things that I hope she follows through with. Hopefully she had some good conversations that if the Lord get me out of this situation, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. I pray that those conversations were had. And now that she's here and the deal has been done, we can't revert, we can't change course. I hope that she does something with this newfound freedom. Basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Just like I'm the king on the microphone, so it's Dr. J and Moses Malone. So y'all too young for that. That's Curtis Blow, way back in the day. But everybody, thank you for joining us here on the set of Studio B. Remember, wherever you're watching us from, like, comment, follow, subscribe. Get down there in that Patreon link. Support us, everybody, as we are trying to do some different things coming in 2023. And we got some interesting stuff coming for you. So stay tuned. Make sure that you don't miss anything going on here on the set of Studio B. Remember, be informed, be empowered, Studio B. We'll see you later.